Welcome back, everybody. I hope everybody had a good Christmas. We're going into the New Year's today, so thought I would take this day off and try to make a video and just kind of tinker around. Been cleaning out the shop and came across some things that I bought off of eBay a while back. I had a couple of these. They don't function, these old multimeters, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to turn this into a lamp. More of like an accent light, I guess you would call it, something you just put on a shelf or whatever. But there's really not much to making a lamp, but there are some important things that you need to know as far as the electrical stuff. So I'm going to go over that, and then a few of the things that are helpful when you're kind of modifying something like this into a light. So let's jump over to the more important part, and that is the whiteboard where we have our electrical information. All right, so regardless of what you decide to make into a lamp, the most important thing is to wire it properly so that you do not cause electrocution. So you need to use a polarized plug. One like this basically just has the wide and the narrow prongs, so you can only plug it in one direction. And the wide prong is our neutral, and that's corresponded by the ribbed edge of our wire, and our neutral gets plugged into the silver screw, and then the smooth wire, which is the narrow prong, gets plugged into the brass screw. Now, like this cord here I bought, it was all pre-made, so we know it's got the ribbed edge, that's the neutral side, and everything's ready to go. But you can buy some more unique looking wire, like this twisted braid cord, and it's color coded, so at least we know what from one end to the other, it's not both black or something. But if you get something like this, you need to make sure that you don't buy one of these, because it's the same on both sides. Now, technically it would work if you plugged it into the wall. The light would still function. The problem is when you wire it backwards, like if you were to put your hot to this part becomes energized, and then like if you're changing a light bulb, or maybe if this actually is touching part of the other part of the lamp, it essentially makes the whole thing hot at that point, and you could electrocute yourself by just touching the lamp or touching this when you're changing a bulb. So you have to make sure that the brass is the hot. For some reason in your get like a cord and maybe they're both the same color, you could use a multimeter and check for continuity, so you know what wire's what, and then wire it from there. But if you're kind of hesitant, just buy one that's pre-made. We know it's good to go. But just remember, the ribbed goes to silver, smooth to hot or brass. And I would say if you're not confident in doing, I mean, this is pretty simple wiring stuff, but if you're not comfortable with any of this, I would say don't do it, or have somebody help you do it when you get to that point, because last thing you need is to get hurt. So hopefully it makes sense to you. But now let's jump over to making our lamp. All right, hopefully you guys can see this, trying to get a better view of that ribbing on the cord. That's our neutral, and if you look at the other one, you can see there's nothing, and you can actually feel it a lot better than you can see it. So like there's definitely a raised edge there. So this is our neutral wire. But we got to get our multimeter apart here and make some room for our wire. So this thing doesn't work anymore, but if I was smart, I would probably be able to figure out how to use one of these to actually turn it on and off, like the switch itself, but that's not going to happen today. Some of the other things that we're going to use in this build, and I'll put some of the links below. I just added it all to my box of junk here, but you can buy some of these threaded tubes, and these tubes are like a standard size. I'm gonna use one of the short ones, but screws into our socket. So I'll mount this into our housing somewhere in the middle there. It's gonna be a fairly simple lamp, but obviously you can see the potential for making something like this a little bit more unique. I'm gonna go ahead and drill some holes. I'm gonna have to cut, probably drill a hole through here somewhere so it kind of comes through, and then I'm gonna run my wire out the back of this housing. So yeah, we'll do that right now. Just putting a little knot in there. For some reason, somebody grabs and pulls the cord, gets caught, whatever, and gets pulled off the shelf. It's not going to pull the cord out of the socket itself. Okay, that should work. All right, I went ahead and cut these little tabs off and folded them over. Just want it so it's smooth. There's nothing sharp that can cut into the wire. And then we'll feed it through our little hole here and then pull it out the top. This is where it's going to be kind of tricky. Give myself a little slack for the beginning part. Feed our wire through. Tighten that down yet so we can get everything wired first. All right, so we need to put this piece on first, and then we can do our underwriter's knot. Always gives me fits, but you need to do it. Even though we have the knot in the bottom, this also is a secondary precaution, help keep the wires from getting yanked out and then possibly having a bare wire up against your housing or causing a short and anything else like that. So we got to make sure we just add that in there for a little added precaution. So you want to create a loop. This one goes over, and then you want this to go through that one, so we have a little bow looking pretzel kind of situation here. And we can screw our wires on and then adjust this down as we need. And this is my hot wire, so that's going to go on our brass. I like that sticking out. Let's double check, make sure this is for sure the neutral. I might actually cut some of that wire off because I don't want it sticking down into our housing. As well. So now we got everything wired up, we're tight. Press this, pull this down rather. Probably should have pulled that all the way out. Maybe I should have thought this through a little better. I just thought I could get away with doing it the other way, but this is fine. The problem is that thread is so tight go. Give some slack here. Cardboard's in there. Oh. To snake this stupid thing back in there. So I make sure that my plug is straight. Okay. Straight. No, we're not at all. Check. I'm going to tighten this back in. All right, so we're straight. Go ahead and put some screws in, or not. Can't see what I'm doing. All right, everything's tight. Now, I ordered these bulbs not looking at the actual size, so they're kind of dorky looking, but for test purposes, it'll be fine. Got it plugged in. Now, I don't have any reason to think that this is going to give me a shock, but a good way to test something, just in case, is to touch it with the back of your hand, because obviously when you get electrocuted, your muscles contract. So if you touch it with the back of the hand, your natural response is going to be to pull it away from the shock. So, okay, we're good there. Ah! Oh, okay. Turn off some of the lights, because I want this to be kind of it's a little bit brighter on the screen than it actually is in person, but just like an accent light you put on a shelf or something, but something that has obviously interest to it, and it'll be more interesting with a bigger bulb, but it works. All right, guys, well, that's about it for our little lamp video here. It turned out really cool. I think old test equipment's really interesting, and I thought it just kind of neat to make a lamp out of it. I wish I would have had a little bit more time to wire it so that the dial actually turned the bulb on, but still works. And like I said, I just want something that was more like an accent thing for like a shelf or whatever, nothing like actual bright where you would need like a lampshade and all that stuff. But I made another one of these. I might put these up on my Etsy site, so if I do, I will put a link to that below. But this video is more about just showing you guys how to wire your light socket and doing it safely in the proper way, and hopefully inspire you guys to go out and kind of turn some trash into treasure, if you will. But for now, I think I'm going to call it good and work on some other ideas for other videos. So I will talk to you guys later. See you later. Bye-bye.